proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, pilot Jack Rulin in Skycam 16, Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark, and Joe Zone on sports. This is Newswatch 16.
Good evening. The man who led police on the chase says he's sorry.
It was 1 week ago today that Kenneth Noonan of Scranton, an escaped mental patient, commandeered a truck and led police on that chase through Lackawanna County. Newswatch 16's Bob Reynolds gave us live coverage from Skycam 16 of the chase, and Bob has spoken with Noonan several times this week. What have you found out, Bob?
Well, Karen, as you know, Kenneth Noonan is presently at Farview State Hospital and knows he needs help. Noonan tells me one way to help himself is to tell all of us his story. It starts at Scranton State General Hospital, where Noonan broke free from guards and stole a truck. That started a police chase through Lackawanna County. It lasted nearly an hour and took Noonan through Scranton neighborhoods. He ran lights, roadblocks, and put the lives of innocent people on the line. 1 week later, Kenneth Noonan says he's sorry.
Innocent people got scared, innocent people got hurt. And that's the last thing I wanted to do. That's why every time I had a chance, I try to get out of town.
You may ask what set off Kenneth Noonan. He explains that his son died last year. He then saw a television news report 3 days before his escape about two music boys overcome by coal gas. One died. Noonan says the night before his escape, he was rejected by his 7.5-year-old daughter.
What happened was I broke down on the phone because she hung up on me because she said that she didn't want to talk to me no more because she feels that I don't love her because I'm not home with her.
As police chased Noonan through Lackawanna County, they fired at the truck trying to stop it and the mental patient at the wheel. Noonan says he wanted police to kill him.
I didn't want to surrender. I wanted to die. I didn't want to stop until they shot me.
Noonan was not shot, and the chase ended as quickly as it started in a Ransom Township cornfield. Now, Kenneth Noonan tells me that he still wants to die, and I told him no matter how bad things are, his love for his 7-year-old daughter is something to live for.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
Traffic police in Scranton finally have all of their accident reports in from that wild chase last week. In all, 11 cars and trucks were hit by the truck Noonan stole, 2 of them police cars. Last week, police thought as many as 38 cars were hit. Reports now show 4 people were injured in those crashes. All of them are out of the hospital now. 2 cars were demolished, also damaged 4 utility poles, at least 2 street signs. Insurance adjusters are still working on the total dollar amount of damages from last week's chase through Scranton and Lackawanna County.
Farmers whose crops are damaged by deer sure were hot about the results of our phone survey. Newswatch 16's Craig Stevens reports from Columbia County. They want the deer hunting season kept the same.
Some sportsmen claim killing doe only every other year would beef up an otherwise small state deer herd. But don't suggest that to Alan Helwig. He's a farmer near New Media in Columbia County. The last thing he wants is a regulation that would kill less deer. He loses money now because deer eat his crops.
Well, in a strawberry patch, we had to put electric fence to keep them out. Cabbage and lettuce, which is for truck stuff, they'll go along and they'll just take a bite out of one head here and a bite out of, there. They won't eat the whole thing. If they'd eat the whole thing, it wouldn't be so bad. But that means the whole head.
Even this apple orchard was tough to keep alive. Damage from deer was so bad, he replanted the whole thing closer to the farmhouse so he could keep an eye on it. This is what a normal apple tree looks like in this orchard, but if you follow me right over here next to it, there's another apple tree. This one damaged by a deer. You can see the difference. To try and cut down on his crop damage, Alan kills at least 25 deer each summer on his farm, and he's been doing that for nearly 30 years.
As you can see, 60, 70 deer at night on the farm. And you figure 3 deer will eat as much as 1 cow, so they're going to eat a lot of crops. There's nothing you can do but shoot them.
Doe season every other year, not if Alan Helwig could decide. Craig Stevens, Newswatch 16, Columbia County.
Newswatch 16 continues with a messy day to be driving on the roads on wheels.
And later on, we'll take the Pennsylvania road and ride on runners. Stay tuned for the fun.
Great comeback at Lackawanna. Our evening classes make it convenient to work by day and learn by night. Like Marion Pusicki, a customer service rep for Third National Bank by day, a major in data processing by night. Sergeant Tom O'Prendick, an Air Force interviewer by day, a computer information major by night. Ellen St. Ledger works for Train Corporation by day and studies word processing by night. So make a great comeback to learning. Call Lackawanna Junior College today. Spring semester begins February 4th.
Making copies is a lot like breeding thoroughbreds. Start with a good line and you'll produce winners. Like Canon's line of personal copiers with interchangeable cartridges, so I can copy in more colors than ever before. 6. The new PC-25 even reduces and enlarges and makes copies up to legal size. Canon's PC-10, 20, and new 25. Ooh, I love it when I pick a winner.
And the best part? You get that famous golden business machine service, too.
Snow amounts early today were about what our meteorologists expected, but in some areas it kept coming down through the noon hour, so school officials here in East Stroudsburg dismissed this elementary school at 12:30. They didn't want to take any chances of area roads in Monroe County getting any worse. So you may be planning to go out tonight. What are the roads like right now? Well, Newswatch 16's Mark Davis is live on Route 309 up there on Mountaintop. How about it, Mark?
Well, Nolan, if you're going out tonight, things aren't really too bad. As you can see behind me, Route 309 is pretty much clear. A lot of the snow pushed over to the shoulder where I'm standing. But the problem now is not the falling snow, just a few flurries in the air. The problem now is ice. You see the temperature starting to fall, and a lot of the snow that had melted earlier is starting to freeze. Now, Newswatch 16 checked with a number of state police barracks throughout the area in the last couple of hours, and they tell us that basically that's the story tonight. Roads are pretty much clear of the snow, but there's a little film that's starting to freeze, and in some spots it could be icy. So if you're out driving tonight, it might be a good idea to cut that speed down by 5 or 10 miles an hour, because you know when you got to stop, you're going to need a little bit more distance. So if you're out tonight, the key word is caution. It's not a dangerous night, but it's one to exercise a little bit extra caution. Mark Davis, Newswatch 16, live with the Instacam along Route 309 in Mountaintop. Karen, Nolan?
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, our chief meteorologist, Tom Clark, is next with his weather watch.
Yeah, and we'll say congratulations. You said 3 to 4 inches, and that's what it was in my backyard.
It was so nice to hear it referred to as, well, not a surprise snowstorm.
Yeah.
That was nice. But don't be surprised if you see it snowing out your window again tomorrow.
Well, there they go again.
I hear Wendy's sold millions of hot stuffed baked potatoes last year.
Yeah, and we didn't sell any.
We didn't have any.
Yeah.
Only Wendy's has hot stuffed baked potatoes with chili and cheese and so many other delicious toppings.
I sure wish we'd thought of baked potatoes.
Boy, I feel like a clown.
How do you think I feel?
Hot stuffed baked potatoes for Wendy's kind of people.
Yuengling was brewing premium beer back in 1956, in 1919, in 1860, and all the way back to 1829. 5 generations of the Yuengling family have been helping America quench her thirst for over a century and a half. What a tradition. What a great beer. Yuengling, America's oldest, is still America's best. And that's a promise from Dick Yuengling himself.
Fowler Floor, a one-of-a-kind store.
Fowler Floor & Wall is having another one-of-a-kind sale. Through January 31st, we're offering free installation on all in-stock carpet, rolls, or remnants of 20 square yards or more. Hundreds of rolls in stock in our vast warehouse. Up to 90 days, no interest on approved credit, up to 3 years financing. The free installation sale ends January 31st at Fowler Floor & Wall.
The one-of-a-kind store.
All right, let's go out to the backyard, find out about some more snow.
More snow.
Any snow out there right now? It was up in Mountaintop a moment ago.
Yep, a little bit in my hand here, Nolan. Just some flurries falling now in the backyard. It's a very powdery snow that fell. Just over 1 inch from the storm in this backyard, but you go north and south of Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, amounts ranged from 3 to 5 inches. Now in the backyard we have a cloudy sky overhead and just a few light flurries. That'll be the extent of our snowfall tonight, just flurries. Mid-20s now. 81% humidity. It's quite high. The wind southwest at 7, and the barometer is beginning to recover. A low reading there. Today's high 25, 15 the low so far today. 10 below. Back on this date in 1977, it was the coldest January on record back in that year. And 1 year ago today, we had 2/10 of an inch of snow. 29 was the high. And our photographer was down in Stroudsburg today, Larry Lavelle, getting us a shot of Main Street, where they had a couple of inches of snow. But it was on this date, back in 1954, when the highest U.S. temperature on record occurred for the month of January. The place, Laredo, Texas, the temperature, 98 degrees. Wow. Now, let's go to that satellite view. We can take a look down in Laredo now. They had a high of only 61 today. That's not too bad. A lot of sunshine down that way. There goes the storm. Dumped up to 4 to 6 inches of snow across southeastern Pennsylvania, down around Philadelphia and the suburbs down that way. Just some light snow flurries falling now over the area. If you're going out tonight, as Mark Davis said, a few icy spots, but no big drop in temperature tonight behind this storm. I'm looking at this storm system up here. There are the clouds. That storm racing towards Pennsylvania. Light snow accumulations here tomorrow. Not as much as we had today, but behind that storm, another thumb-numbing, eye-watering air mass from the Arctic. Has its eyes on Pennsylvania. It will get here Sunday, I'm sorry to say. Here's my forecast for tonight. Not much colder than what it is outside your window now. Just a few degrees drop in temperature. Montrose, Harding, low temperatures tonight. Hazleton, 21. Freeburg, about 23 tonight. Du Bois Town near Williamsport, 22. Just flurries tonight. Now, sunrise and sunset times on a Friday, 7:25 a.m. The sun will set at 5:02. Now, tonight, just a little dusting, that's about it. No real problems driving, but watch out on the secondary roads, a few icy spots. 26 tomorrow, light snow, I think probably less than an inch in most places tomorrow, but no more than an inch in the mountains. Saturday, some snow flurries, no big deal, 24. Look at the high on Sunday, only 14, probably not too far from 10 on Monday. Bitter cold air, and we may be about to see one of the coldest presidential inaugurations on record in Washington, D.C. Monday. But okay for the Super Bowl, though.
Yeah, all right.
Dry and in the 50s.
10 degrees?
That's about it.
Battery-operated mittens will be in
electric
store,
socks.
Right? Yeah, electric socks.
Thanks, Tom.
Tim Carlson is in next on the Sports Watch for Joe Zone. Tonight's stadium preparations.
Joe will be live via satellite from California with a report on Jimmy Cefalo, his part-time player role.
It could happen to you.
Excuse me! Jay Wiles, my name, 3 of a kind's my game, my card.
Pennsylvania lottery ticket?
Right, 3 of a kind. Match 3 card numbers or faces and win. Up to $100,000 instantly. Grand prize, $1,000 a week for life. Well, the Joker's wild, too, so any pair can win.
Pennsylvania.
Nice stop.
Play the Pennsylvania Lottery's new $1 instant game, 3 of a kind. It could happen to you.
My card!
Well, our cameraman, Ed, is wondering, is it soup yet? So let's ask Tim Carlson, is it
I don't know.
soup
We'll
yet?
ask Joe Zone to use his noodle and see if we can find out. How's that? All right. As Super Bowl week moves along, the excitement builds, and so are the crowds out in the Bay Area of California. And nobody knows that better than the guy who's been there all week for Sports Watch 16 live via satellite. Joe Zone right here. Joe, how you holding up through that awful 50 and 60 degree weather, you poor man?
Well, it was actually a little bit warmer than that today. It was up there in the 60s. I think I got a little bit of a tan. I don't think you can get one, though, in 3 days, but you have to tell me later on. At any rate, we're getting closer now towards Sunday. The crowds are beginning to pile in. You might be able to hear in the background inside the stadium some of the rehearsal for an awesome pregame show they're going to have here later on. A little bit about this stadium. Might even be wondering why are they having the game down here in Stanford. You've got Oakland up the road, you've got San Francisco. Well, for one reason, Stanford holds 87,000 people, and that makes it the largest stadium in the Bay Area. So, of course, that accommodates an awful lot of people coming in here. You know, that's just about the same size as Penn State. Turf here is natural turf. area guy from our area, George Toma, the groundskeeper here, he's pretty much responsible for that $2 million in renovations to get this stadium ready. And by the way, the press box side is the home side. I tell you that because that's where the 49ers will be. They are the home team. They'll be wearing the red jerseys, and the Miami Dolphins will be the away team wearing white. Couple of things. You keep your ears and your eyes open here and you keep your mouth closed, you pick up some things. Today at our hotel, the Hyatt Regency, the Miami Dolphins are staying there, and some of the players' families came in today. The Marinos came in, Mr. and Mrs., and they were hounded by reporters today. None of them wanted to talk to the press or the media. They wanted to have breakfast in peace, said Mrs. Marino, so she denied some interviews. Danny Marino, I think maybe the media pressure is getting him just a little bit today. He, for the first time I saw him, turned down an autograph seeker. So it's been a big build-up, and we're getting close now, of course, to the big day. More with our conversation with Jimmy Cefalo. He was a starter here once with the Miami Dolphins. That was before Mark Clayton, before Mark Duper. This Sunday, Jimmy Cefalo is going to be just a part-time player. Your role seems to be third down situations. Is that a role that's easy to accept?
Well, I came into the league that way, and then I became a starter, and it's difficult to regress, but given the circumstances, you know, what should we tell Mark Clayton to sit down or Mark Duper? You know, I'm contributing in a lot of ways, and I'm happy doing that. Obviously, a Super Bowl championship would make everything wonderful, and in the last half of the year, it's been a great experience.
And it still must be very pleasing for you to know that in those important third down situations, you're the guy that Coach Shula calls on to go in there.
Well, you know, it's either Nat Moore, Joe Rose, or myself, depending on the situation, the down and distance, and what play we have called. But yeah, it's a good feeling knowing that occasionally we'll go into the game and my number is going to be called.
Tonight we wrap up the Cefalo interviews. He's going to talk about what's ahead for him after Sunday's Super Bowl game. By the way, tomorrow, it's Pete Rozelle. He talks to all of us along with the coaches. A lot to do tomorrow. But I'll be back tonight anyway on the update with more from here. This is Joe Zone with a live report via satellite from sunny and warm Stanford, California, site of the Super Bowl.
Listen, Joe, by the way, I understand if Jay Christopher is a $6 kind of 49ers keychain friend, what about me?
I haven't found anything in that price range yet, Tim.
All right, thanks, Joe. See you later. Joe back again live via satellite tonight at the update, the Super Bowl live Sunday at 4 here on 16. All right, while we're talking about super teams, how about the University of Scranton Lady Royals? They've been ranked as the second best women's Division III college basketball team in the country by the NCAA polling committee. Scranton is currently 11-1 on the season and have won 9 straight, boosting them from 6th place in the poll last week. Barely ahead of the Lady Royals is the Pitt Johnstown team. They'll be at the Long Center February 2nd. And we talked with Scranton coach Mike Strong today about his highly ranked Lady Royals.
I'd rather not be number 2 at this point. Our goals, you know, I never put down in our goals about what our national ranking was going to be, but I knew that we were good in the beginning of the year, and I knew what those teams ahead of us lost, you know, they would be up there, so it's no surprise. I mean, I said all year long that we have a good team. It is gelling, it's very satisfying, but I'm not going to lose sight of our objectives.
The Lady Royals play Kings tonight at Kings, and of course, Joe back at 11.
All right.
We'll see you later.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks, Tim.
Stay with us. That trip we promised is coming up next.
Mike Stevens taking us sliding across the countryside just for the fun of it next.
Look for us, we'll be there. Newswatch 16 is everywhere. From the mountains to the valleys, in your hometown square, we'll be there. We're everywhere.
Newswatch 16 is everywhere, everywhere.
On a snowy, slippery day like today, getting around sure can be a nuisance, no matter how much horsepower you may have under the hood. But as Newswatch 16's Mike Stevens found out from the Pennsylvania Road, it can be easy with the right horsepower.
Get up there. Come on, get up.
You do a story like this for the fun of it, just because it's a day to hitch up a couple Belgian horses to a sleigh and go for a ride. Ken Swingle does this sort of thing for a living.
Families mostly. It's family ride, yeah. People like to bring up their kids.
not too many teenagers are like to go out. They don't. It's too slow for them.
It is slow, but it has its benefits. There's no whir or clank or putt-putt. Listen for a moment to the noise of a horse-drawn sleigh.
Come on, Flick. Come on, doll. There you go.
A ride with Ken lasts about an hour, and he'll take you up the hills and across the dales. Places that'll give you a view for miles, and places where people can look at you.
I like driving them. It's different. Everybody looks at you when they go by. Nobody misses you.
Folks used to ride like this a lot during the age of the horse, wrapped in blankets with a heated soapstone to warm their feet. They used to get a different view of the world, one we don't see traveling as we do, wrapped in glass and metal. And on a day when metal horses have trouble getting around, it's nice to know you won't have a breakdown or get stuck. All this makes you think our forefathers didn't have it all that bad. I'm Mike Stevens, Newswatch 16, on the Pennsylvania Road in Lake Ariel.
Thanks for the ride, Mike. That's Newswatch 16 for a Thursday.
Be sure to join us tonight on The Update when we'll have a Health Watch report on a way to detect a bone disease that can spell danger for the elderly.
For the entire team, thank you for joining us.
Enjoy your evening.